Last Christmas was the weirdest and most unsettling one I've ever had. I live in this small ground floor apartment. It's a cozy place and I had it all decked out for the holidays. But then, this thing started happening that still gives me the creeps. Beginning December 1st, every night at midnight, my landline would ring. Each time the caller ID showed unknown, which was weird enough. The first couple of times I didn't think much of it, just some prank probably. But it kept happening night after night. Eventually I got fed up and answered. All I could hear was this heavy, deliberate breathing. No words, just this unsettling sound, and then they'd hang up. This went on for the entire month and I started feeling like I was being watched. Christmas Eve rolls around and I'm a bit on edge, knowing that call is coming. Right at midnight, the phone rings. I answer, and again with the breathing, but it's louder this time. As I'm listening, I hear a faint creak in the background. It sounded like my back door. My house is old and the back door doesn't always latch properly if you don't give it a good tug. I'd always been a bit lax about checking it. That night, the realization hit me like a ton of bricks. Could someone have been sneaking in? I ended the call and cautiously checked the back door. Sure enough, it was slightly ajar. My heart was pounding as I searched the apartment. When I got to my bedroom, I noticed the closet door was open just a crack. I always keep it closed. Bracing myself, I opened the closet. Nothing out of place except for this one box I didn't recognize tucked in the back. Inside were photos of me, some recent, some from years ago. And there, at the bottom of the box, a note. Merry Christmas, I'm always watching. I called the police, who came and did a sweep of the place. They figured someone could have easily slipped in and out through the back door, especially since my house is a bit secluded and the door was finicky. They never found any fingerprints or other evidence, though. I couldn't stay there after that. Moved out as soon as I could. The calls stopped and nothing like that has happened since. But the thought of someone slipping in and out of my house, watching me for who knows how long, it still freaks me out. So that's my story. Makes you think twice about those little things you overlook, like making sure your doors are properly locked, especially around the holidays. It all started in early December. I live in this pretty standard apartment complex, nothing fancy, but it's home. One morning I find this letter slid under my door. It's all fancy, like an old-fashioned Christmas card, and it's addressed to me. Inside there's this note saying, "From your Secret Santa," and it talks about how they've noticed I've been working hard and deserve a good holiday. Kinda nice, right? But also a bit weird because our building never does Secret Santa. Anyway, I brush it off, thinking maybe it's one of my friends messing with me. But then, these letters start coming every few days, and they begin to get more personal. Like, this Secret Santa knows things about me. What my favorite coffee is, the rough times I've been having at work, even mentioning how I missed my family back home. Now, I'm not easily spooked, but this started freaking me out. I asked my neighbors, even the building manager, if they knew anything about a Secret Santa thing going on. Everyone's as clueless as I am. My friends swear they're not behind it. The letters keep coming right up until Christmas Eve. Each one's more detailed than the last. They talk about how they love seeing my smile in the morning, or no, I've been feeling lonely. The creepiest part? One letter mentioned the movie I'd watched the night before. And I mean, I live alone, 3rd floor, and I always keep my curtains closed. Christmas Eve, I get the last letter. It's different. There's no warm holiday wishes, just a simple message. Merry Christmas, I'll always be close. No signature, nothing. Just those words and a picture, a photo of me in my apartment taken from outside my window. I remember feeling this chill run down my spine. I called the cops and they did a sweep around the building. They figured someone could have been using binoculars or something, given the angle of the photo. They promised extra patrols and to keep an eye out, but nothing ever came of it. After that, the letters stopped. No more Secret Santa, but the damage was done. I spent the rest of the holiday season jumping at every sound, double-checking my locks, and keeping my curtains tightly shut. I still don't know who it was. Could have been someone in the building, maybe someone who saw me around. But why? Why go through all that trouble to freak me out? It's the not knowing that really gets to you, you know? So yeah, that was my last Christmas. Makes you wonder about the people around you, about what they might be hiding behind their friendly smiles. Secret Santa? More like Secret Stalker. Alright, so last Christmas was, well, it was something else. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, to be honest. I live in this little town, pretty quiet, everyone knows everyone. It was early December and I started noticing this car. It was this old beat-up sedan, kind of hard to miss. I'd see it parked down the street from my house when I left for work. At first I figured it was just a coincidence, someone visiting a neighbor or something. But then it got weirder. This car, it started turning up everywhere I went. The grocery store, the post office, even the parking lot at my office. Always parked a little way off, just sitting there. I tried to brush it off as paranoia, but come on, the same car everywhere. That's not normal. I mentioned it to a couple of friends, and they joked about it being a secret admirer. I laughed it off, but inside I was getting more and more anxious. I mean, what if it wasn't something harmless? Then Christmas Day comes. I'm at home and there it is, the car parked right outside my house. At this point, I'm freaking out. I call the police, but they say they can't do much unless the driver does something. I'm trying to have a normal Christmas, but it's hard with that car sitting out there. Late in the afternoon, I see the driver finally get out. It's this guy, average looking, nothing really remarkable about him. He walks up to my door and leaves a box on the porch, then just walks away, gets in his car and drives off. I wait until he's gone, then go out to get the box. Inside, there's this collection of letters and photos. The letters are all about me, stuff I've done, places I've been. The photos are of me too, but taken from a distance. Some of them are recent, others are older, like someone's been following me for a long time. The letters, they're not threatening, but they're not exactly normal either. They talk about how the guy admires me, thinks we're meant to be together, stuff like that. It's like he's been building this fantasy in his head. I gave everything to the police. They said they'd look into it, but without a name or any real threat, there wasn't much they could do. They suggested I get a restraining order if the guy showed up again, but I never saw him or the car after that. I spent the rest of the holiday season on edge. I double-checked my locks, kept looking over my shoulder. The whole thing just left me feeling violated, Someone watching me for who knows how long, and I had no clue. So yeah, that's my Christmas Stalker story. It's crazy how you can go about your life not noticing someone's there in the background watching. It's made me more cautious, more aware of my surroundings. Kind of a wake-up call, I guess, but not the kind you ever want to get. We have this old-school record player at home, so that evening, with the Christmas tree all lit up and the family hanging out, I thought it'd be fun to play the record. Expecting some classic holiday tune. But man, was I wrong. As the record started playing instead of Silent Night, we heard voices. It was a conversation, or more like a heated argument, but all hushed and urgent. The thing is, one of the voices sounded just like my late grandfather. He was talking to a woman and they were discussing something that sounded really serious. They were talking about money, a lot of it that they had hidden. The woman was worried, saying things like, "What if we get caught? And this is too much, we've gone too far." My grandfather's voice was trying to calm her down, but he also mentioned being careful so no one would find out about our little side business. The record ended as suddenly as it started. We were all sitting there, kind of stunned. My mom looked like she'd seen a ghost. She said she never knew anything about this, that my grandpa was just a regular guy, worked at the bank, The next day I asked Grandma about it. She was hesitant at first, but then told me that years ago, before I was born, my grandpa and a few others at the bank were involved in some shady deal. It was something about skimming money off accounts, a big scandal at the time. But somehow, it got hushed up. She said my grandpa was never the same after that, always looking over his shoulder, kind of paranoid. The woman in the recording? She didn't know. Or maybe she didn't want to say. We never played that record again, it's still up there in the attic, but now it feels like it's hiding a piece of my grandpa's past, something he never wanted us to know. So yeah, that's what happened last Christmas. It's weird, You think you know someone, and then you find something like this. It's made me wonder what else he might have been hiding. Not exactly the kind of family secret you expect to find during the holidays,